What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to look at the FAQ for BT9. BT9 is now out, the FAQ is out, and you know what I always say about these things? If you are going to be playing the Digimon TCG, you are going to need to know the rules. And massive shout out to the lovely folks over at Ensan Gaming here, who have provided our translation. They are awesome, and I am very appreciative. And if you're not checking them out, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff, please make sure you are. They are brilliant. So starting off with the Digitama then, we have got a Puyoyamon coming out. Once per turn, when an effect adds a card to your hand, this Digimon gains 1,000 power for the turn. Does this effect activate when I return my own Digimon to my hand? Yes, because a card is added to my hand. Does this effect activate when a card effect allows you to draw and discard from your hand? Yes, because even though you're discarding, you still draw a card, you still add cards to your hand, so this will absolutely be activated. Kokumon X Antibody is coming out. We've got an inheritable skill on your turn. Once per turn, when a card is added to your security stack, one of your opponent's Digimon loses 1,000 power for the turn. Will this card activate during the timing of add a card from your security to your hand, then perform recovery +1 deck? Take things like TK Takaishi, which allow you to essentially search your security, and then if you take a card, you then have to replace it? Yes. Because even though you are just replacing a card that you took, you are still adding a card to your security, therefore it totally activates. We have seen this ruling before. Agumon X Antibody is coming around here, and we've got a lovely skill. When you're digivolving, you reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck, and you add an X Antibody and a card with Greymon or Omnimon in its name to your hand. Well, does the effect mean that I can't add the cards to my hand unless I find both of them? No, we've seen this ruling before. If you only find an X Antibody, cool. If you only find a Greymon, cool. If you find both of them, cool. If I reveal cards, but I choose not to take them, is that okay? No. It doesn't say you may add them to your hand, it says add them to your hand. If you find the cards that you can add, you have to go and add them. Now, Jillmon X Antibody is coming in here, and we've got a lovely skill here, whereby as an inheritable skill, you add 1,000 power to the maximum power you can choose with effects that delete Digimon. Okay, what does that actually mean? Well, if we take a card, for instance, like Gallantmon itself, when digivolving, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3,000 power or less. Well, now, you would be able to delete a Digimon with 4,000 power or less. It does not, however, allow you to play around with if you're deleting a Digimon with power less than this Digimon. That would not allow you to add 1,000. It would just be, look at this Digimon. So Greymon X Antibody, at the end of your attack, if this Digimon has Greymon or X Antibody in its Digivolution sources, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with power less than or equal to this Digimon's power. You would not then be able to delete a Digimon with 1,000 power more than this Digimon. That would not work. Grellmon X Antibody is coming along in this set with an inheritable skill, which does the same thing as Jellymon, and therefore the ruling is the same. Now, Greymon X Antibody's got an inheritable skill on all turns if an effect would delete this Digimon with Greymon or Omegamon in its name, or return it to its owner's hand or deck. You may prevent it by leave and play by discarding 2 cards with the same level in this card's Digivolution cards. Does that mean the same level as Greymon, i.e. level 4? No, it means 2 cards from your evolution sources that each have the same level. So, if you Digivolved Greymon into a level 5, it would have to be 2 level 4s or 2 level 3s, etc. When you're deleting, can you delete Greymon itself? Yeah, as long as you delete another level 4 as well, although do remember you then won't be able to activate the skill next turn. And can this activate when a Digimon's power reaches 0, when a yellow deck lowers it to 0, for instance? No. Because the Digimon's power becomes 0, and will be deleted due to the rules, not the effect of a card, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is not the same thing. Omega Shoutmon X Antibody is coming in here. On your turn, while this Digimon has Omnium Shoutmon or X Antibody in its Digivolution cards, this Digimon can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. Does that work if I've got cards with the X Antibody trait in the evolution source? No, it must be a card called Omega Shoutmon or a card called X Antibody. It's not referring to the traits, it's literally, and I told you this as we were going through, it is the option card called X Antibody. Now, we're going to see this ruling a bunch more, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but for instance, MetalGarurumon X Antibody, or Wargreymon X Antibody, same kind of thing, it has to be the option card X Antibody. And we've got the same ruling here on MetalGreymon X Antibody, and again, it's the same thing. This Digimon gains security attack +1, then if MetalGreymon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution sources, this Digimon gains 3000 power until the end of your opponent's turn. Okay. But it's got to be either MetalGreymon or the option card X Antibody, not a card with X Antibody in its traits. Speaking of MetalGreymon, after I evolve this Digimon, if I place the card X Antibody under this card's evolution sources in the same turn, do I gain 3000 power? No. Because the card effect activates and it checks, have you got MetalGreymon or X Antibody on evolution? It is not if at any point they end up under there, you get the 3000. It's if they are under there when you Digivolve. For the rest of the video, I am going to be skipping over the does X Antibody mean a Digimon with X Antibody in its traits? It means the option card X Antibody. We're not going to keep doing this for fairly obvious reasons. It's going to get repetitive. Now, Greymon X Antibody has got a rather nice skill. On all turns, when a card is removed from your opponent's security, you gain 1 memory. Well, when the player attacks a security, checks a security Digimon and battles, does the player gain a memory? Well, since the security will be reduced when performing checks, if there's a security effect, the security effect will be activated, and then this effect will be activated later. After that, if there are no other effects to be activated, you will gain 1 more memory before battling the security Digimon. Of course it activates. Your opponent is losing a security card. Of course this will activate. So we're getting a Gallantmon X Antibody, and this is a fairly exciting one. We like Gallantmon. When Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest power. If you did not delete a Digimon with this, unsuspend this Digimon. So what does that actually mean? Well, it means that when your opponent has no Digimon, or Digimon with the lowest power does not get deleted by this card effect, can't be whatever reason, you unsuspend. Can I choose not to delete my opponent's Digimon because I want to unsuspend? Nope. If there is a valid target, you must pick that valid target. When an opponent has a Digimon that can't be deleted by opponent's card's effects, and the Digimon has the same power as this Digimon, during the activation of this card's when Digivolving effect, can I choose my opponent's Digimon that has the effect of can't be deleted? Yes, you can. If there are multiple Digimon with the lowest power, you can select either one of them as the target, so it is possible to choose a Digimon which can't be deleted, and then that will allow you to unsuspend. And this is a pretty big deal. You cannot choose to not delete a Digimon, that's not how it works. But you can choose a Digimon which can't be deleted, and then that will allow you to unsuspend, and that could be a pretty big deal. Now, I've made no secret of the fact that I am a big fan of DinoRexmon. DinoRexmon is awesome. When Digivolving for each of your opponent's tamers, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon and gain a memory. And on all turns, when your opponent's Digimon with 6000 power or less is suspended, you may delete that Digimon. Once per turn, of course. So wait, when I Digivolve, I gain 1 memory for each tamer my opponent has? Yes. Well, my opponent has multiple tamers and only has one Digimon. Can I suspend the only Digimon and add memory for each tamer my opponent has? Yes. That's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. That's how it works. Can I choose not to use the all turns effect to delete my opponent's Digimon? Yeah, it's a you may. You can choose not to use it, and if it's not used, the once per turn requirement won't be met, and you can use it again, which incidentally is the reason why you would choose not to use it. You choose not to delete the first Digimon suspended so you can go after a better Digimon, because otherwise your opponent would totally be trying to delete a Digimon sacrificially so they could save their better Digimon. When I declare an attack, my opponent's Digimon with 6,000 power activates Blocker and suspends it, and due to the both turns effect it is deleted. What happens to the attack? Well, essentially you attack, the blocking Digimon becomes the target, the blocking Digimon gets deleted, there is no attack target, the attack will end. You don't then just attack the security, the block still essentially does its thing, although the Digimon will be deleted, boo hiss, etc. Agumon X Antibody is coming around in this set. When you Digivolve, reveal 3 cards on the top of your deck, and add an X Antibody and a card with Garurumon or Raidenmon in its name to your hand. Well, do I need to find both of them? Nah, we talked about this earlier. If you only find one, only take one. Can I choose not to add them to my hand? No. Again, we saw this earlier. If you get cards that fit, you have to take them, unfortunately. Gutted. Now, Jellymon is making its debut, or at least regular set debut here. And when you play a blue tamer, you draw a card, and on your turn, once per turn, when an effect adds a card to your hand, return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to its owner's hand. Well, if my Digimon is returned to my hand, does the skill activate to get rid of a level 3 Digimon? Yes. Like we said earlier, it's still adding a card to your hand. Does this effect activate when a card effect allows you to draw and discard? Yes, like we said earlier. You may be discarding, but you're still drawing a card, you're still adding a card to your hand. That totally counts. Garurumon X Antibody has an inheritable skill. When this Digimon with Garurumon or Raidenmon in its name would be deleted by battle, you may trash 2 cards with the same level in its Digivolution cards to prevent that deletion. Similar skill to what we saw before and similar rulings. Do they have to be the same level as the current Digimon? No, just the same level as themselves. Can you trash Garurumon X Antibody? Yes, as long as you trash it with another level 4. But do remember, that skill will then be gone. If you've got a couple different level 3s, might I suggest picking them first. Now, Jillmon comes in here, and I'm probably pronouncing that terribly, for which I can only apologise. And what we've got here is a main skill. If you have a Digimon with Justimon or Raidenmon in its name, you may pay 1 memory to place this card as the bottom Digivolution card of each of those Digimon. What's the timing? Any point during the main phase by revealing it from your hand. There we go. Job's a good un. MetalGarurumon X Antibody. We've got here is a rather lovely skill, whereby when this Digimon becomes unsuspended once per turn, if this Digimon has MetalGarurumon or X Antibody in its Digivolution cards, return all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level to their hand. Obviously, it's got to be the option card X Antibody. But what I'm asking about is, does it work if it becomes unsuspended during my unsuspend phase? I.e., it's going to get unsuspended at the start of my turn during my unsuspend phase. Can I use that, or do I have to unsuspend it during the main phase? Now, it totally works during your unsuspend phase, which incidentally makes it a way better card and makes me very excited indeed. Now, Pillarmon is both adorable and making its debut in this set. On all turns, players can't play Digimon by effects. Can this Digimon prevent Digimon being played by the effect of an option card? Yes, that's an effect. If this Digimon is in the battle area, can play cost be reduced? Absolutely they can. This is not a card that stops play cost being reduced. This is a card which stops Digimon being played by effects. That is not the same thing. Now, we're also seeing ourselves Salamon X Antibody here. And when digivolving, look at the top card of your security. You may add it to your hand. If you do, recovery +1. Well, what happens if I don't add the card to my hand? What happens to that card? And this might sound obvious. It stays on the top of the security. Somewhat obviously. Now, Kokumon X Antibody is a rather exciting card, moving over into green. There are a bunch of other yellow rulings, but they're all just, hey, is it X Antibody or a card with X Antibody in its traits? We've kind of done that. When you play or Digivolve, reveal the top cards of your deck, add a Digimon with Insectoid or Machines in its traits, and one X Antibody option card to your hand. So you can probably guess what the rulings are going to be here. Can I add a card with the X Antibody trait to my hand? No! It's talking about the option card X Antibody. Does it mean I've got to hit an insect and an X Antibody or it fails? No, if you only find one, you can just grab the one. And if I reveal them, do I have to add them to my hand? Like we said before, yes, you totally do, because it's not an optional thing. You kind of have to do it. Now, Pomamon comes in here, and what we are looking at is, on all turns, players can't play Digimon by effects, so we've got the same skill as Pillarmon here, and we've got the same rulings. Except we add a ruling in here. Can I move my Digimon from the raising area to the battle area using Mimi Tachikawa? Yes, because I'm not playing a Digimon. I am basically gaining an extra breeding phase, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is not the same thing. Now, Leomon X Antibody, on all turns, when this Digimon would be deleted in battle, you can play a Leomon from its Digivolution cards without paying its memory cost. Can I play a Leomon X Antibody? No. It doesn't say a card with Leomon in its name. It says Leomon. So it has to be Leomon, not a card with Leomon in its name. It's got to be actually Leomon. Now, Panjyamon X Antibody has a similar kind of thing. When this Digimon would be deleted in battle, you can play a Leomon from your Digivolution sources without paying. But there's an extra thing here, whereby Panjyamon X Antibody is, its name is also treated as including Leomon. So can I play this? No. You can't target this card as Leomon because it's not called Leomon. Leomon is just included in the name. That's important. Now, GrandisKuwagamon is coming around for the first time in this set, making its debut. And we've got a Digivolution skill. Suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. And then if this Digimon is attacking, you may switch the target of the attack to one of your opponent's suspended Digimon. Okay. Well, when I'm using that, I rest my opponent's Digimon. Can I change the attack target to the newly rested Digimon? Yeah, you can. I thought this was going to be the ruling, but this is one of the ones that was really, really interesting me. One of the ones I've personally been waiting for. It is a way better skill because it basically means you can attack unsuspended Digimon by suspending them and then immediately using them as a source of the attack. That is pretty gosh darned awesome. And if we finish off taking a little bit of a look at the black Digimon here, we've got a Bakumon coming in here, or Tapiamon as we call it, and we've got a skill. If a Digimon has 2 or more colours, as an inheritable skill, you gain 1,000 power. Does this evolution source activate when the Digimon has the effect, treat this Digimon as a red Digimon, i.e. if they're not true dual colour Digimon, but they are treated as a second colour? Yeah. Because it's still got that second colour, doesn't matter how it gets it. Now, Raidenmon is in the particular set, and what we've got here is a skill similar to what we saw before. You can place a Fujinmon, Raidenmon, or Sujinmon from your trash to the bottom of this Digimon's Digivolution cards in any order when you play it, gaining 1 memory for each card that you played. Well, does it only activate when all 3 of them are in the trash? No. As long as you've got at least 1 of them in the trash, you can go ahead and use this particular skill. Okay. Well, also, when you're attacking, if the total colours of level 6 Digimon in this Digimon's Digivolution cards is 3 or more, you gain 3,000 power until the next time your opponent's turn ends, and if there's 4 or more, you need Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Well, if your opponent's got 4 or more colours, do you gain both of those skills? Yes. Yes, you do, ladies and gentlemen. That sounds fun by me. Now, Gaioumon comes around here, and when Digivolving, if this Digimon has a black Digivolution card, one of your opponent's Digimon gets de-Digivolved 1, and if you got a red Digivolution card, you get Blitz. It is also treated as having Greymon in its name. So, when I'm targeting Greymon, can I target this? No. If it's Digimon whose names include Greymon, you can target this, but if you've got to target Greymon, this doesn't count. So for instance, the promo Greymon, while this Digimon has Greymon in its name, you would get an extra 2,000 power, but if it said, while this Digimon is Greymon, it totally wouldn't count. Same ruling we just saw a moment ago on Panjyamon. And during the activation of the when evolving effect, do I get both Blitz and de-Digivolve 1 if I've got both red and black cards in my evolution sources? Yeah, of course you do. Yay! And finally for this video, we can finish off with Gaioumon, and again I'm probably pronouncing that terribly, for which I can only apologise. But we got a Digivolution skill that unsuspends up to 2 Digimon and or Tamers, and then for each of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon and Tamers, you gain a memory. And at the end of your turn, once per turn, for every 2 of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon and or Tamers, trash the top card of their security. Well, can I activate my opponent's unsuspended Tamers? Oh yeah, you can, and you will often want to, because again, for every 2 of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon and or Tamers, you trash the top card of their security. Can I use the when Digivolving effect to activate one of my Tamers and one of my opponents? Yeah, you can. Mix and match. Go nuts. Does the when Digivolving effect allow me to activate 2 Tamers and 2 Digimon? No, it is 2 in total. So 1 of each or 2 of one. They're your options. Does the end of turn effect of trashing my opponent's security only apply for each pair of 1 Tamer and 1 Digimon? No. You add up the total number of Digimon and Tamers, divide them by 2, and that's how many security will be trashed. So the example they give is if there's 3 Digimon and 1 Tamer, that's 4 in total, divide by 2, you trash 2 security. I get the feeling this is going to be a nuts card. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back shortly to finish off the second half of this FAQ, but for now, that is a lot of rulings you need to get behind. GrandisKuwagamon is a whole bunch better, and a lot of these are very important. Like I said at the beginning, if you're going to be playing the game, you need to know the rules. But now it's over to you guys. Tell me which of these interest you. Tell me if any of these surprise you. Tell me anything you want to tell me. Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.